Well, right now I'm on my way to my buddy Jakub's house and his brother Joe. They got an awesome house here in Southern California. They do a lot. Jakub's got his own YouTube channel. He's a musician. It's called My Momentum Media. Check it out. The links will be below. And then Joe, he owns the Pyramid Center. I'll put the link below. And both of them are doing quite a lot in the scene of, you know, esoteric knowledge, occult knowledge, finding out the unknown, finding out the truth. These guys are true seekers. So I'm honored to go hang out with these guys and show you what this party's like. It's a December 21st party, just a gathering of people to get together and talk about it. And I love Jakub so much, and Joe, but Jakub and I used to do a YouTube video together. We did the lunar eclipse video. He also did my introduction to astrology video. If you look on my page, it's like my first video on the page. I haven't seen him since the solar eclipse. That was in May. So it's gonna be a lot of fun for me to go check it out, hang out with them, and, you know, see what comes out of this. So I really like these guys because, again, they're seekers of truth, and it's my pleasure to bring you to see whatever happens tonight, actually. And it's December 21st, 8:01 p.m. I'm in Southern California doing my thing. I'll see you guys soon. So this is kind of interesting. My GPS can't get up to his house, so he's got to come down and get me on a Suzuki, like cool 4-wheel drive, so I can get here. So I'm like sitting sideways on this hill waiting for my boy Jakub. But that's kind of like the way the universe is going, you know? We think we know where we're going, but sometimes we just gotta go with the flow. And you know what? GPSs aren't even right. So I guess my point here is just learn to go with the flow, keep it gangster. So I rolled up gangster style up to Jakub Dolezal's house. He's an excellent host, and I love coming to this house because when you come here, his family's great, his girlfriend's great, his friends are great, but most importantly, it's all about speaking. It's all about messages. It's all about getting deep into people's minds and having intelligent conversation. So it was an excellent place for me to go on December 21st, 2012.
But again, that's the human experience. You always have doubt up until the very last second.
That's what's teaching you to grow.
Who knows why they're alive? Nobody. But who can answer that? Nobody.
Of course somebody can answer that. Why do you think some people, you could build kingdoms? Why do you think these people that build kingdoms could like manipulate all these people to build living a certain way? That stuff gets so like understanding the feminine, masculine, the positive, the negative. Like my brother pointed out a great thing too. It's like when you think about how the Catholic Church and the English crown are so tied in together and how deep that stuff gets. Like when you realize that the king in England or whatever, the queen, they wear a crown, the crown which represents the masculine, the hand that kills, the hand that enforces law. When you realize that what the Pope wears on his head is an actual tiara, that's not a crown or anything, that's a tiara, that's the feminine. That's the spiritual side, the femininity. And that when you realize like what Hitler was trying to push, Hitler couldn't do shit without the Catholic, without the Pope saying, go do it. There was a whole different, there was a different reality being built around Hitler. It went a different direction than it should have. But Hitler couldn't have done shit without what the Pope's saying, go ahead and do it. He asked everything, going into Italy, where he was going, he was asking the Pope what to do. And when you realize like that spirituality, like what the Pope, what possibly that Catholic Church, the Vatican can have underneath those grounds, the knowledge is amazing. Those millennia of knowledge. I do not believe Alexandria burnt down and nobody got anything from it. I don't believe that when you had all those people running through the Mayans, that they burned all the books and the writings. I don't believe that shit. No intellectual would ever do that. Maybe they did like demonstrations in front of people. You people are stupid. Listen to us. Look, we burn your books and we don't die from your gods. But the real important stuff, they took home. Those treasures, they took home. Because any logical person knows the value. People aren't dumb, and they weren't dumb back then.
I'm sitting here with Jakub Dolezal. This guy is the man. My Momentum Media on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Well, I met Jakub actually crazy. You know, I am an astrologer and I do believe in synchronicities, but him and I have the exact same rising sign. So this guy's on my same life path. And the reason why I'm interviewing Jakub is because he's just a master of truth.
I guess you could call it that.
And the reason why I wanted to interview him is, number one, of course, we're here sitting here December 21st, 2012 at his party. So I want to ask him a couple questions about that. But I'm so intrigued by Jakub because you just go deep into the truth, reality. You're like the reality checker.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to call it perspective, you know. There's a couple things I really value in life, and that's like ethics, logic, and perspective. And all of them really like tie in together nicely like this beautiful trinity. And I like to always take a step back and just kind of understand everything that's going on. Not so much the good, the bad, you know, the positive, negative. Kind of just where's it all coming from? Because everything comes into that full circle. I mean, you know, we're coming into today is supposed to be the end and then the new starting of a cycle from the Mayans, you know, or the ending of the Baktun or whatever they called it, their cycle.
So what is your true perception on this outside of just this cycle? I mean, do you see a future for humanity? Do you see a future for this reality? What is it that you take out of this?
I mean, the whole thing is, it depends how deep and how long of a conversation you want to have. When you talk about reality, reality is this complex thing, but yet it's so simple. Yeah, you know, the whole reality, and that word, it's so important, but it all has to do with actually tuning in and becoming coherent to yourself within this world. And I think the whole realization that we've been so far away from actual spirituality and understanding of oneself that we've totally lost perspective of everything else. And you know, everybody, they kind of sense it, so they were hoping that like the Mayans were going to have some sort of solution and that this date was going to become some sort of defining moment. But again, it shows how much unaware and how much in tune we are with everything, because in this world nothing happens black or white. It's always gray. It's always sections of gray, and you know, it could come up right behind you and then surprise you, or it's never just like, oh bam, here we go, we're all going to just float into the sky. You know, it's not like that. It never has been.
Well, I want to ask you, because let's be honest here. There's so much of this floaty-toady, wannabe floating into space area, and I want to get, because you are a man of truth, and why do you think so many people were so misled into this crazy, like, fantasy world that we seem to be living in? I mean, people thought it was the end of the world, and then on the other half, which I'm a spiritual person, so I definitely believe this is a spiritual change, but there also comes that reality check. And why do you think so many people there's a lot of people lost, I feel, in this whole perspective?
Again, a lot of that stuff starts with that basic understanding of oneself, and being so lost and nothing in this world making sense, because we're so not tied into it here. You know, we're always trying to escape, you know, whether it's TV, video games, or the end of the world. We're always trying to escape, and we haven't been like living in the moment. Hence why time is like just accelerating at the speed. It's because it's like nobody wants to be here. We want to be over there. We want to be there. So it's like you can't even slow the breath down. You can't even slow time down to be able to just live this moment. And so it's like nothing comes together. It's just this chaos. And you know, part of the way the universe works is out of chaos comes order. So maybe we need it. Maybe we need all this stuff to happen.
Well, you're a man of a lot of work. You're a musician, you're your own producer, you're even a host. I mean, you and I have done great videos together. I mean, where's your work taking you now? With especially, we're at this new point in juncture.
You know, where my work takes me, I'm not going to say where my work takes me, because at this moment my work doesn't take me in a direction. It's more where I'm taking myself. You know, I went from music, stepped from that into like alternative thought and understanding, and now a lot of it's going to be more bringing the world to me. I think where I was right now in my life, I was bringing myself everything I need to be me. And I understand myself very well. I understand my ego and my consciousness and how everything works. And now it's time to bring the world to me so I can work within it to make everything just blossom beautifully. Because, you know, I can't tell anybody advice or how things should work or shouldn't work. But what I can tell you is I'm deeply opposed from this whole 9 to 5 thinking. this like depressive slave mentality that's just there, and you don't get to enjoy anything about life. I mean, you know, I do work hard. There'll be days I wake up at 8:30, take my shower and just go till 4:45 till 7 at night, non-stop, you know, and I really just eat one meal and I just go all the way through. But even after I'm done with that, I have to go use my physical energy, and I go, you know, work is mental for me, and then I go out and I go play beach volleyball like 6 days a week just to get my energy out of me, you know, just to clear my head, just so I kind of neutralize myself. Because the thing is, it's so unhealthy to just be one way, be so mental or so spiritual and not have any physical activity, you know. We're here in this world, and you have to let all of that stuff just equilibrate. So it takes that balance of everything. And you know, everybody's got different extremes. So for me, I gotta work hard, so I gotta play hard. And literally I can play beach volleyball sometimes for 5-6 hours straight. You know, just a little sip of water and keep going, so.
Well, I think you bring up an interesting perspective, because actually if we just take a look at your and my relationship, our astrology charts are flipped. You're an Aquarius, I'm a Leo, and your sun is in the 6th house, mine's in the 12th, which are the opposites. I come from way spiritual, I probably need to get more physical, and then you come from this very physical sense. So that was the main purpose why I wanted to interview you, is because it actually inspired me with this YouTube channel. I mean, we've done lots of great work together, and you bring such a raw truth to your work, and not even your work, to yourself, like you brought up. And I think you brought up a great point, that people really need to step into themselves, that they really need to know themselves. But I think your points also come with that reality check so great. And, you know, is there anything that you want to add as far as how people can tune more into that? I mean, beach volleyball is great, but when it comes to this place of knowledge, you know, there is this battle between the metaphysical and the physical, and really trying the balance of both. And is there anything else that you can tell people out there, especially how to tune more into both and find that equilibrium outside of just even physical things?
You know, a lot of what you're asking me is just about basically living. It's just about living life and fully living it. And I can't say I'm the best example of that, so I can't give people opinions about that stuff. I can say that there's more to life than money, there's more to life than work, and there's more to life than sex, and there's more to life than play. But the thing about it is, it's like, it's opening up your ears and your eyes and your taste and all these senses to actually listen to yourself, to know what you need. And it's not about being irresponsible and just going to play ball or run around or go get high and all that stuff, because all of that stuff, you know, you don't really need it. And the things you do need, the things that are going to make you healthy and make you grow, those are the things that your body knows. It's kind of like when you get in touch with yourself and in tune with yourself, whether it's through breathing exercises, whether it's just self-reflection, all of that stuff is so important. And when you start opening up those doors, it starts opening up the world around you, because everybody sees things completely differently. You know, you can be blind, you can be deaf, and you're going to see different colors, you're going to hear different sounds. You know, and you could be both. You could be blind and deaf and still learn to communicate. There's ways they can teach that. And you have this whole different painting of this world. So I can't go out there and tell you this is a good way to learn or this is a good way to be, because it's not. We all have different purposes, different messages, and in a certain way we're not all equal. But we aren't here to be equal. We're here to experience what we need to experience and be what we need to be. And all of that stuff's within you. And if you don't know what it is, it's because you've been ignoring yourself or afraid of yourself or not dealing with certain things. There's a lot of things that this society teaches you to be afraid of, or just judge even yourself, so you never fully experience, you never fully grow and evolve. And that's dangerous. So I think the basics before you get into anything deep is just understanding yourself and accepting yourself for what you are, what it is. Not everybody's going to be beautiful. Not everybody's going to be ugly. Not everybody's going to be smart. But that stuff's okay, because you all fit into a different puzzle piece of the world. And all of that stuff just, it has its place, you know. And with that, it's about yourself figuring it out and getting there. So I can't tell you what to do.
Well, you know, what's always intrigued me about you is because you are a searcher of truth. And, you know, I bring up conspiracy theories because that's been a subject that you know a lot of different things about. And What do you think it is that intrigues you so much about these theories? Is it because, like you just said, about how, you know what, there is this reality we're in where there is so many things that aren't exposed, you know, that it's almost like we are being repressed? And I think a lot of what 2012 is about moving into an area where we can actually individually become to know ourselves, but I still feel there is a force out there that is suppressing us, that isn't exposing the truth. And you've been somebody that's always inspired me because you're so well versed in all these different subjects. I mean, what is it that's always intrigued you? Different conspiracy theories and so forth.
Well, you know, that the theory, I think it's the word theory. One important thing I learned in college, to me, was that nothing is fact, it's all theory. The minute it comes out of your mouth and is written, it is theory. Nothing is fact, nothing is absolute. And by learning that and then getting into all these alternative thoughts and alternative ways of looking at things, which are conspiracy theories because it's looking at a norm, whether you look at 9/11 or whatever else it is, you know, whether you want to say, oh, it's not just my soul, it's my chakras and everything else that's aligning me. A lot of that, you know, again, is theory. Because again, chakras and all that, great explanation of what's going on, but nobody knows that's what it is for sure. It's not an absolute, it's just an interesting theory. 9/11, again, it's a beautiful perspective of looking at what could have happened, and that brings me to one of my key words. It's like perspective, you know, and you got to look at, well, why did this happen? Why did this happen? You're never going to know. Was it really this or was it really this? Even if you had foolproof evidence like that it wasn't terrorist, or you had foolproof that it was terrorist, you're never gonna believe it. You're never gonna know because that shadow of doubt is already there. So, and that stuff's not important. What gets important and why I am always looking into this stuff is because it helps me open up the doors so it goes, okay, this makes sense. It's not that he's good. It's not that he's evil. This is that motivation that pushes this individual this way. What takes a person, the energy and the will to go in this certain direction, and then by what they do alters everybody else's reality, everybody else's world, all of a sudden has to jolt and shift in a different way because of all this. And that's why that stuff's so interesting to me, because I believe I'm onto something really interesting about life and the world and myself and my soul. But you know, it's not something that's just going to come to me in a half a year. This is one of those old men conversations that one day it's just going to click to me and go, aha, this is it. This is what it's all about. And then everything will just be warm to me, you know?
Yeah.
And that day will come when it comes. It's not something you can force. It's things you learn. And just this world always rushes you in certain directions and in certain perspectives. Again, it takes you back to that thing you never get to fully live. Because you're just stuffed and overfed with these thoughts and these emotions. You never get to be you. You never get to be you. And if you get glimpses of yourself, you're made to feel that sorry, tongue-tied. You get this feeling that you're supposed to feel guilty for what you did, or bad, or, you know, oh, I'm so good because I gave to these people, I worked at a charity. When again, the way you delivered and the intent behind that was actually ego-driven. So, you know, it wasn't pure to yourself. So, you know, and that's who you're responsible to yourself, is yourself. Not to everybody else, because at the end of the day, the only person that's going to take care of you and keep yourself warm is you. And then once you have that, then you can build your family, and then that family is that important, and it develops everything else, which again, it gets into that whole important thing. The thing that just started this question was that theory, that conspiracy theory. It's that alternative thought that makes you realize, like, wow, you know, it's not just this one way. Life's not just about dates, and history just isn't about dates and good and bad guys, and we're the good guys that survived everything. It's about that perspective and that motive that made history, life, and the world go that certain direction.
Well, you've done a lot on your YouTube channel. I mean, you've interviewed people like Jordan Maxwell, and your brother too. He's an amazing man as well. What is it that intrigues you about your channel and about the people that you reach out to interview and do segments on?
You know, the people that I reached out to, I found them very interesting, and I just wanted to show their perspective. You know, it's not for me to judge. It's not having an argument or anything. So I wanted to show perspective. You know, my whole channel is about just giving like an alternative thought onto something. Again, not something that's foolproof, not something that's fact. It's just about like this like other look, this other perspective, you know, something made this person focus on this point in their life, and it made all of that flourish. Because not everybody can study everything, you know? Not everybody can be a garbage man, but we need a garbage man. Right. As much as people laugh at that, that's a whatever, it's like you need those people. It's what keeps society clean. Just as much as you need a doctor, it's what keeps it healthy. All of that stuff merges, and nothing should be looked down upon. So I just try to bring into all those things. Because I mean, my channel goes from my music video to me being in Sedona experiencing something. It's just about, you know, again, living, concentrating on myself. You know, and managing myself. That's what it's about, and that's what I kind of try to show people. And I'm going to be on an interesting little path in this coming year. You know, from like after the first, I'm going to go visit Sedona again, and I'm going to bring some of my friends. Hopefully you'll come. Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully you're going to come and just experience and everything. And it's not about that whole fairy tale mumbo jumbo. I'm going to go sit there, meditate, and you know, I'm going to see the world in a whole different way, and I'm going to be a genius after. Because it's not about that. Nothing ever comes to anybody like that. And they can pretend, but it's just because they were so high on something they thought they figured it out. But in actuality, it kind of goes into you as you're picking up on all the signals that you're being given. And you know, and I just think having a nice core group of friends that you take there, everybody's got a different perspective, you share, you communicate, and you just let something flourish.
Well, I've loved all my experiences with you, man. It's been quite a journey with you. And how do people get a hold of you?
A hold of me, that's hard, because I like to spend a lot of time with myself. But, I mean, you can always, you know, catch little glimpses and updates on my YouTube channel, which is My Momentum Media. That's all one word. And other than that, you can always write me through there. I do have a Facebook, Jakub Dolezal, but there's a couple Jakub Dolezal, so you may or may not find me. But otherwise, you know, just check out my channel. Go through David, you can write him, and hopefully we'll bring you some more stuff that'll make you want to experience some things too. Because, you know, me is for me. It teaches me. But you're never going to learn the little things that I learn by just watching me. A lot of that stuff is for you to experience. You know, just like the child. It's like, it's got to burn its finger on the fire for it to understand that fire burns. It's the only way. As much as you describe it, it'll never get that full experience. So hopefully it's just one of those things that motivates you to want to think outside of the box and just be you.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it, dude.
No problem. Thanks for the interview.